Hi, it's Gary back again with another video for Jack Nicklaus Perfect Golf's CourseForge package, and in this video I'm going to show you how to model, texture and import an object, in this case a fence post, onto your course. So here we are inside of Cinema 4D, and this is where we're going to make our basic post shape. So if you go here to your polygon objects and select a simple cylinder, here it is. Now we want to make it about 350 centimeters tall, and we'll leave the radius at 50 centimeters. We want to add in a height segment here, and the other thing we want to do is bring down these rotation segments to about 15. Now before I do that, what I'll do is I'll drag you in another cylinder. The first one I'll bring the rotation segments down to 15, and the second one I'll leave at 36, and we'll make both of them editable objects. And if you have a look at the one that's 15 segments, you're looking at 60 polygons in total. If you're looking at the one that's got 36 rotational segments, you're looking at 144 polygons, so over double. Now for something like a fence post that you're never going to get that close to, and the fact that you're going to use multiples of, you're much better off creating a simpler object. Now although it looks a little bit jagged around the edges there, you're never going to notice that in game really. So you're much better off trying to create as low a polygon model as you can, because it just helps the game performance. So now we've made it an editable object. You can see here that we've got this segment here, height segment, and if you click on the move tool and double click on the height segment, it selects the entire ring. And then what we want to do is drag that up to here. Okay, and then we're going to select this top ring here, and we're going to hit the scale tool, and we're just going to pull it in. Right. Now as you can probably see there, that's pulled in part of the top, but it hasn't actually pulled in this top section here. So just double click on that and pull that one in as well. And then basically there is your post. Now what I do is I then set up my post for texturing inside of Unity. You can create a UV map. Some people are very good at UV mapping, which basically means that you go into this section here. I could probably do it, I would have thought, and you create a UV map where you are basically selecting segments and you're assigning them to a part of a JPEG, and then you can just use one JPEG to texture the whole object. I can't do that really very well, so what I do is I basically fake it by selecting certain areas and separating them out as different objects. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little top section here that's pinched in. So I select my live selection tool and I make sure that only visible elements is deselected. Okay, and then I'm going to scroll. I'm going to just mouse in a little bit there, and I'm just going to select. I actually need to go to my polygons tool as well, and I'm going to go across the whole top there, and I'm just going to select that whole lot. And then I'm going to press U and P, and that separates that out. So if you look now in here, I've got one object which is just this pinched in section, and the entire object also. So actually I think that's the other way around. So that's the entire object, the whole post, and that is just this pinched in section. So what I want to do is go back to that and just delete off that section that I've got there. So now if I make this invisible, you can see that I've only got that one section there, and on the main object I don't have the section. So I'm going to rename that post pinch. Okay, and we'll rename this one post main. Okay, so we've got that section there and that section there, and the other one I want to separate off is the very top. So again, select. Do you know, I always do that. Should be the other way around. That's post pinch. and that's post main. So I just want to select this very top section here. So again, in the live selection, this time I'm using the top view, and I'm going to turn off my only select visible, turn on my only select visible elements, and I'm going to select the whole top view there, and I'm going to hit U and P, which will separate that out as well. So now I've got my top section, which is that one, and my main section, which is that one. I'll go into my main section, I'll delete off my selected areas, and on this one I will rename this post top. Top. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this bottom selection of polygons here, because you're never going to see it and it will just take up useless polygons. So if we now select those, hit Alt and G, which will put them into a null group, and call that post. And then if I just have a look on post at my object information, and that tells me that we've only got 45 polygons because we've taken off the bottom. So that's a really low polygon object. Okay, and then export that. I'm not going to do it because I've actually already done it, but export that. Actually, why not? Export that using FBX. We'll call it post 1 because I already have a wooden post, so we'll just call it post. Hit save, hit OK, and then if we go into Unity, our Unity project, because I've saved it into my models folder in my Unity project, there's the post showing up. So if I drag that in, you can see there's a larger version of it, and it's all ready to go. Now what you would do, that's obviously too large, so if I were to scale this one down, so say for instance I select this and scale it down, yeah, that's great, but if I pull another one in, it's just going to be a large one again. So what you actually do, just delete that one off, this scaled down one. What you actually do, so I've got two of these in for instance here, if I click on the actual object in the folder, I can put a scale factor in, say 0.25, and hit apply, and it scales them both down. So you don't have to scale them individually, you just scale the main object and it will scale those ones down. So, but I've already imported, I'm going to delete that, I've already imported a post which I've created earlier, and I've laid it along this cart path. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I go about texturing it. I'm not saying this is the right way, I'm just saying this is my way, so this is how I do it. So if you go into materials here, you can see that the three materials that I created are, actually that's a good point, I didn't show you in Cinema 4D. Let's just go back into Cinema 4D. So this is my original. Now here's three materials that I've created. They're just completely basic materials. I haven't done anything with them. All I did was hit create a new material, name that one post, and then I just controlled and dragged out to just put a copy and then rename that one. So I think I've called them post main, post top, and post pinch. Okay, I'll get rid of that one because we don't want it. And then basically I drag the post main onto a post main, the post pinch onto the pinch piece, and the post top onto a top, and then I exported it. So I should have done that bit first, so apologies. Okay, so when that's pulled over into Unity, you now see that here you've got three materials in your materials folder. So whenever you export an object as an FBX, it creates a materials folder. Inside this materials folder, I've got these three: post main, post pinch, and post top. So if I start off, let's just zoom in on one so you can see it. If I start off with the post main, when I click on it and look in the inspector window here, I've got a few options. Now the first one here, which is called albedo, or albedo, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. That is your main texture. So if I click on that little dot there and I pull in a texture, so let's put it in bridge. Okay, it pulls up that bridge texture and puts it onto my model. So what I need to do is I need to find a texture that will fit with my wooden post. So if I look on the internet, and I've already searched up a few, I want something like a nice tree bark. So I just typed in tree bark seamless, okay, and then just picked an image that I liked. This one here, it's called, I think when you go to save it, saved image as, it's called picture of tree bark detail. You can change that to tree bark. I didn't, probably should have done it, would have been quicker. Let's put that in now, tree bark, okay, and we'll save that. And then what we'll do, go back into Unity, tree bark's popped up there, okay. So again, go into my post main, click on this albedo option, start typing in at the top tree, okay, there's the picture of tree bark, there's tree bark, okay. So there you can see it's applied, but it doesn't look great because the texture is rather large for the object. So in here, in this tiling, if you pull this up, it will then tile more texture onto your object. And obviously because it's seamless, it doesn't look too bad. So that looks okay. So we'll leave that at that. Now the other thing that you can do is you can add a normal map, and a normal map will create the illusion of actual bumps on the texture. So as you can see, I don't have a normal map for this, and I could go into Photoshop and I could try and work out a way of making a normal map, but fortunately I've discovered online a really useful normal map generator. So I'll put the link in the description, but basically if it's here, it's called Normal Map Online, and there's the address, but like I say, I'll put that in the description. And then basically what you do, let me just drag this over onto my other screen. What you do is you get your image and you just drag it over onto the first box, and then it creates a normal map from that. So you can fiddle about with these settings. Just basically, you know, I'm not really sure what they will do. I just leave them at 0, leave that one at 0. I sometimes pull the strength and level about a little bit, but, and then you hit download, okay, and that will save into your saved folder as a normal map. So if we look in our saved folder, try and locate this normal map, there it is. So I'll copy that. Oh, sorry, you can't see that because on the screen, there it is, okay. I will copy that and I'm going to paste that into my Unity folder. Now to do that, I actually have to have the project open. So I'm just opening it up over in my other on my other screen. I'll go into, this is mine's called New Unity project. I'll open the assets, I'll open my models up, I'll open the materials up, and I will just basically paste this normal map into my Unity folder. And whoops, didn't want to do that. And I'll rename that tree bark normal. Okay, so that's saved in there. And then, so on here now, I can select this normal map, hit the little circle, find it on my list. There's tree bark normal, select that, okay, and as you can see, you've now got a nice looking bark texture. So now I've created that normal. If I now go again and add that texture to my post pinch, so albedo tree bark, and again it's just a question of getting the tiling right. Should I put that in there? Yeah. So Just looking at tiling this up. Just so it matches reasonably. It's not too bad. And then we'll put the normal map in, which will be tiled actually as we want it anyway. And that looks okay, so it's not looking too bad. Okay, and then the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to put our top onto the post. So we're going to our post top, and here I've just searched on tree rings and found something. So in the albedo again, I'm going to put in tree and just search its tree rings. There it is, and as you can see, that looks pretty good already, but I just want to just tile that up a little bit because it's just ever so slightly showing, and then when you just need to move the values over a little bit, maybe just a little bit more, and that way a little bit more. Let's move the X a touch and the Y a touch, and that's not too bad there. That's okay for the purposes of this video. So, and then again, if I just pull that over and just pull this tree rings texture in and download that again, open it up in here. So again, it's here, just copy that and paste it into my materials. Rename that tree rings normal. Ooh, Norman, so easy to do that since that's my surname. Okay, and then we just go back into Unity and oops, and on our tree post top, select. Sure, what happened to my work area? Select the normal map. Tree, find the tree rings normal, and that is way too dark. Okay, so I'll just go back in here now and just adjust this. Obviously the strength is just way too high, probably level there. Download that again, open it up in here again, and then we'll copy and paste that over. So copy that and, oops, and paste it into here. Just call that, just for the purposes of this, tree rings 2. Okay, and open Unity back up, and we'll change the normal map to tree rings 2, and hopefully it's still very dark. Okay, well, maybe we'll just turn the normal map off, that one. So there you have it there. There's your post. If you look along now, all of the posts are covered the same way, and it's looking reasonably good. Now here's a little tip that you can use. All of these posts here are all in this hierarchy here, and it's just filling up a lot of space. So I can create an empty, okay, and in that empty game object I'm going to rename that to posts, okay, and then move it up to the top, and then all of my wooden posts, I'm going to select the whole lot and I'm going to drag them in to that posts. Okay, so now I can shut that and it's a lot tidier. But the other good thing about that is if, for instance, you are using a lot of 3D assets, or you're using some trees that you're dragging in that you're not using the tree planter with, and you want to say, well, what does it look like without them, or they're cluttering up, I want to do some terrain work underneath, can't see anything because of the trees, can't see anything because of the 3D assets. If you select that parent and go to inspector and untick, then it hides them. So you don't have to worry about them, you don't have to view them, they're not there, and then tick it back up and out they come. So basically that's this little part of the tutorial that I just wanted to show you on how to texture. And what I'll do now is I'll just take a look at that in the game. So we'll build this course, and then we'll come back and have a look and see what it looks like in game. One thing that I forgot to mention, and actually the explanation for why the top of the tree looks so awful when I added the normal map, is that you have to change the normal map settings on your inspector. So where we've got this tree ring here, I've selected it down here in the folder, and up here in the inspector I need to change that to a normal map and hit apply. And the same as well for the other texture which we created, you have to change that in here to a normal map and hit apply, and then you should see a difference. And then there's quite a striking difference actually from where it was to where it is. So if I now go into the treetop folder, treetop material, and add in the normal map of the treetop 2 or tree rings 2, it should hopefully look a lot better. And there you go, you can see that actually it does look considerably better. Let me just find a post object, let's pick one somewhere else. So yeah, there you go, you can see it's looking better. So the other thing that you'd probably do as well, looking at this, is you can see that there's quite a lot of specular reflection coming off where it's the light's hitting it with the normal map. So I would probably go into my post main and I would just turn this smoothness down. If you turn it up, look, you see you're getting a lot of reflection there, so just turn that down, and that just helps with that specular look on there. So yeah, so we'll now have a look at it in the game and see what it looks like. Okay, so here we are now in the game, and as you can see my fence posts are in and they are textured, and we'll take a look and just see how they look close up. And they're not bad, they're not amazing, they're not bad. Top looks pretty good, but they're done now. So I mean, the other thing probably that I would need to do with them is add a collider. So I might go back and do that. I'll show you how to do that probably in another video, but the odds are that you're not going to hit them with the ball. So for now they're looking reasonable. Whether I'll keep them or not, I'm not too sure. They look okay. I'm not sure they add much really. They don't add as much as the fence did. They kind of look a little bit in the way more than anything else. I might keep them, I don't know. So, but anyway, there you go, that's what they look like. Let's hit a shot, why not? So yeah, so thanks for watching anyway, and I'll be back with another video soon. Hopefully you enjoyed that one and you learnt something. Thanks very much, speak to you again soon.